O-R-G-A-S-M-S.
Is there an I?
No.
Orgasm. Yeah, you're right. Orgasm.
Organism.
Yo, I don't think we should talk about this.
Come on, why not?
People might misunderstand what we're trying to say, you know? But that's a part of life.
I've been drinking.
I am here with Trish.
Hi.
And we figured, let's just talk about sex. Because it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, like on my channel, something I'm really passionate about. I got my minor in critical studies and sexuality, so I've been trying to figure out ways to like talk about it more, raise more like awareness about literally just talking about sex, normalizing it, and I figured why not talk about it with Trish.
Yeah,
so,
the sex goddess.
So I actually asked on Instagram if there were any questions that you guys wanted us to cover or answer, and then any topics, and what came up a lot is actually anxiety or like shyness, like just being comfortable. I've definitely been in relationships for maybe like more than a year and still it like feels kind of uncomfortable. Not even just with that person, but with yourself in your body.
Yeah, I think that's totally understandable. From my experience, the most important thing is yourself. Like, you have to be feeling good before you can please someone else. And for me, the things that make me feel good is actually making someone else feel good. I actually prefer giving oral sex. For me, that's a huge turn on. And when it's like the other way, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, like there is like so much of that pressure that you are pleasing your partner, and it's interesting that you like it because like that's the pressure, is that like you should be giving like oral sex, and a lot of times like your partner won't give it to you, and so you're supposed to just be happy with that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's the more common narrative.
Yeah, it's very, very common.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's so interesting because you would never learn what you enjoy if the whole time you're trying to please someone else. You know?
Yeah. What was your first like sexual experience or like sexual awakening?
Yeah, it probably would be like the first time that I had sex, which was when I was 17. And I always thought that it would be with somebody that like I loved, I was in a relationship with, kind of like the standard narrative. Where I got that from, not really sure. Like I feel like probably my parents. Yeah, I always thought that I would be in a different place, like I would just know. I just felt like it was right. I didn't love him, we didn't love each other. I just like felt in my body that like I was ready for it, and I don't know how to explain it, and that's how like for like other friends that like have asked me about it, like that's the best way that I know how. And I think that if you're questioning it and you're like, oh, like am I ready yet, like I don't know, then you're not ready. You know, like yeah, that's like the same with like if you love someone, if you're like, do I love them, then you might not, because I feel like it's kind of obvious when like, you know.
When you know, you know.
Yeah. What about you?
That in.
Yeah.
I guess like, because I grew up half in the Philippines and then I grew up the rest of the time in New Zealand. You know, we were in a very strict, like, you know, Catholic family, and then a lot of my friends will not believe this, but I never had sex when I was in the Philippines. I never did. I hooked up with, you know, boyfriends and stuff like that, but never. So I didn't actually have sex until I was in New Zealand with my first Kiwi boyfriend, and he was actually Filipino born, but he was Kiwi. But I think it felt right too. Like this guy like treated me so well, and you know, he's so nice, such the nicest guy. And it was like after exams, and yeah, I just kind of did it, and I was like, oh, because I think I was so like restricted, you know, like growing up, and I was really curious growing up. So my dad had a lot of like, you know, snuff films that I would find, and it was really
interesting.
Yeah, I was really curious. And when I was younger, I remember like putting these things on, and I would skip like the oral sex parts, and like go straight to it. And then I was like 8 years old, and I would like feel like really warm, and I didn't understand. Like I wasn't like touching myself or anything, but I was like a kid, you know, like finding these like taboo things, and then I didn't understand it at the time, and then now I'm like, oh yeah.
It's so interesting where everyone gets their sources. Like I'll talk to day on, and he learned a lot through like porn. Yeah, like similar. And it's like porn isn't always the best way. It really is not. It's not the best way to learn about sex because it's not real.
Not even just censorship, but like a distorted image of sex, and like, you know, sound. You have to sound like this. You have to look like this. But that sort of thing, you actually discover it as you grow, like as you experience it. You know, I don't like that because that sticks in my head. Like, you know, it's easier to break those barriers when you talk to someone about it.
I think for me, like, it was really like talking to my other friends. Like, I didn't have like an older sister or cousin or really someone to teach me it on that end or really talk about. So for me, like, it was just talking to my friends, but a lot of times I was kind of like one of the first to experience it, so then it's like mostly me that are telling my friends like, oh yeah, like this is what it's like. If you know you like something, you know, communicate that with your partner. Don't just whip that on them. Everyone has boundaries. Like everyone, like the older that I got, like I understood that. Like I kind of thought everyone likes the same thing, which is so weird because I think you're also taught that about sex. It's so different no matter who you meet. So be respectful of other people's boundaries too. It's like, I met so many, like I've like heard so many stories of like people that are just really pushed outside their comfort zone, and it's never communicated. Like it's never, like you never talk about it. You just like people do it. Yeah. And like,
so our number one lesson is consent.
Consent,
Consent, guys. Clear consent.
Yeah, because like I think also, especially like for me, and I'm sure maybe you've experienced this growing up, but like it's really hard to express what you want and what you need. And I think for a lot of times, like me growing up, my experiences were mostly like, okay, you're doing that, I guess that's okay. And like it wasn't ever me like really being able to process like, am I okay with this? Do I like this? Because I was just like, it's being done to me, so let's just roll with it, you know? But like, and that's such a dangerous, like, and there's so many people, like guys and girls, that are just like, let's roll with this. But that's not the way it should be, because if both people are gonna enjoy it, like you should be able to say like, I did not like that, or like, yes, that
was good. So even whatever it is, positive or negative, you have to be able to communicate that to whoever. Of course.
Especially if it's positive too. Because then it's like, I would never know, like I've been with people before and they're like, I had no idea you like that. And I was like, I thought I was like saying it. I was making sounds. Like, did you not pick that up? Yeah, like, did you not get that? Like, did you not get that? And it's like, no, because like, like how would they know? You know? So like they can't read your mind.
Exactly. Sex goddess. That was my sex face.
Your mating call? My mating call.
What are your feelings about anal sex?
Personally, not for me. For sure, at a time, like I definitely was like, I want to experience it because I want to know if it's for me. But even just like the little finger in there, it just, I feel like I have to poo and I can't do it. I just can't do it. It just, I was like, hey, it's sexy. Get over it. You're good. I can't. I really can't.
There's so many holes. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don't put it up your nose. That's my big advice, okay?
We should preface this. We're both straight. Yeah, so we're both straight. If you're in like a same-sex like relationship, or like not relationship and just same-sex sexual encounter, like are you still then a virgin? And my whole issue with virginity is that it was made up so that like you could define like someone, like a woman's value. Like that's the purpose of virginity. Like it really holds like no other value. So with my own experience, like losing my virginity, I thought that it was going to be with someone I loved, like all this stuff, like and you chalk it up to be whatever because that's what society does. They tell you that it's going to mean all these things. And it didn't. I didn't feel different after. You're not a fan?
Okay. Splitting.
But I didn't feel different after. I was still the same person. I didn't know more about sex than I did before because it was like my first sexual encounter. I was like, what am I doing, you know? And it didn't change me, you know, in that way. And I think a lot of times people are scared of that. And you know, if it does mean something to you, like that's absolutely fine. Like that's great. If you want to like save yourself or like save yourself till marriage, like it's up to you, and that's what's important. But like for me, I found that it wasn't that important.
And even like, you know, that myth, I hope that everyone knows that the hymen is a myth. You could ride a horse, ride a bike, and your hymen will be broken. And I just hope that that's a bit more common knowledge than it used to be. And you know, growing up in a very strict household, I was like, you know, raised Catholic, and you know, I wouldn't want to be raised any other way, but at the same time, I was just like so undereducated. Like there's so much information out there that is not true that I think our generation should have a bit more responsibility when it comes to educating ourselves.
Virginity does not equate to penis in vagina. Oral sex is sex.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so also, I will say, since we're talking about talking, if you can't have a lot of these conversations with your sexual partner, I'm not gonna say that you shouldn't be having sex, because I definitely started having sex when I was less comfortable about talking about things, and I think it just comes with time that you are more confident in yourself and being able to communicate things. But if it's really like that taboo for you to be like, do you have you been tested, like do you have any STDs, like then maybe slow your roll, because like you should, if you're having sex, like it comes with risks. Like yes, it is fun, it's pleasurable, whatever, but it comes with risks, and you should know that going into it. Let's just plug that you should get tested regularly. Like this is bad on me, like I obviously am with Dan and we've been together for about 9 months now, and I haven't been tested since we started dating, but we should. Like even if you're in a relationship, does not mean you can't get an STD, because you have no idea. Like your partner could, God forbid, be sleeping with other people, and then if you contract something, and if you leave it so that you don't treat it, then
it'll be harder.
Yeah, and it could affect your ovaries if you have ovaries, or like I think for men it could also, and for men it's actually, you have less symptoms, like almost none.
And I really have so much respect for people that say, you're in the heat of it, you don't want to know if they've got, I really have so much respect for boys that go, okay, just so you know, like I've had chlamydia like 3 years ago. And you're like, okay, thank you.
Do they do that? Wow,
Yeah.
I've never had anyone do that.
I'll tell you who.
3 years ago.
It was 3 years ago, so would I have it?
Now?
Yeah.
No. Well, you could, but I mean, you should get tested. But like, you should get tested. I mean, but with chlamydia, but with chlamydia and like gonorrhea, like you basically treat it the same way you would like a yeast infection, a UTI, like antibiotics. It's or like, I don't know, like strep throat or something.
Yeah.
But it's so taboo because it's related to sex, so you can contract it mostly through sex. But it's really like, those ones are very
Common.
chill ones, very chill STDs to contract.
Yeah. Even like with girls, like yeast infections are so common. Like
so
don't be.
Your vagina is a wonderland of mystery
and bacteria.
And bacteria.
Good and bad bacteria, and don't be afraid, there's cure.
Yeah, there definitely is. Recently, like, was talking to someone and they told me that they had like a yeast infection and UTI. I was like, oh yeah, like me too. Like I've had so many. Like I've had so many UTIs. Like it's probably an issue and I need to follow up with my doctor. But it's like, it's very normal, because it's like with a UTI, it's just bacteria getting up there, and it's more common in women because our urethra, our urethra is shorter. Yeah. And so after sex, always pee.
Always pee.
Just to like, and if you can, just like push it out, because like it'll like flush out any bad bacteria that you don't want in there. I also personally take cranberry pills. Like I try to every day. But that really helps to keep it in check. And since I started doing that, like I haven't had any issues.
Yeah, because I remember like you were,
I had a lot.
Like, really bad.
It was pretty bad. I also do have like kidney stones, so it could partially be related to that. I know, sad, tragic, but yeah, it's very normal. And like if your vagina smells, if it smells really fishy, might be
vaginosis.
BV, bacterial vaginosis. So you just want to go to the doctor for that. You can just get antibiotics. Don't leave it, because it will probably get worse and just painful and itchy. And like I've had BV. I had it on vacation.
Oh shit.
Yeah, right when I got to Costa Rica, I had BV, and it was just the worst.
Yeah.
Absolute worst. And that happens for me when I was using really scented soaps, because my vagina is just very fragile, I guess. Like it really can't handle that. So now like I'll just use either Cetaphil or like we have like a turmeric soap that's like super natural. And I know everything that's in it, because for me it just doesn't work with the scented stuff. And even if Dayon uses it and then we have sex, like still like, so I made him switch over too.
So I was really sure that I had BV, because I went to Dr. Google and I was like, oh, this
Yahoo Answers?
Yeah, Yahoo Answers. Don't trust that. No, I was like, oh my god, it's like different. I know, when you should be aware of your discharge and like that sort of thing. And I was like, this is not like smelling good. This smells like 10-day-old sushi, which you should never have. And I was like so sure. So I went to like the 6 clinic like right away. It's quite I think a lot of us like feel embarrassed like going to the sex clinic, but a lot of the time, if you live elsewhere, except America maybe, you know, like sex clinics are free. So just go.
Even in America, there's Planned Parenthood, which is always like needing funding.
Yeah.
But there are also, besides Planned Parenthood, there are other ones. You just search in your. I feel like, specifically because both of us growing up Asian, you Catholic, like, sex was never talked about. Never. And I think it's just like, for me, like, I always grew up thinking that it was dirty. But we don't talk about sex. It's just all of these things that are dangerous about it.
Yeah, always negative, like painted negatively.
Yeah, but I think like in high school, like my mom, towards the end of it, I think when she was realizing that I was like getting older, just kept asking me like, oh yeah, like if you're gonna like do anything, like talk to me first, because I think she really wanted to be there, like to support me even if she didn't want to have the conversation.
Yeah, she'd rather have you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I never did end up taking her up on it just because, I don't know, it always just felt, because I was so conditioned to believe that it was like dirty and wrong, and that like it was something that my parents would like hate me for if I ever did it, that like I just couldn't shake that. And I think for me, like that's a really hard thing for me to not still get over. I think now, especially because like I have a steady boyfriend, a partner, but it definitely took a really big learning curve.
And most of the time, like parents would rather, like, you know, some people are like, oh no, I don't want to talk about that, you know, talk to someone else. But most of the time, I would, not that I ever like spoke to my parents about sex, but most of the time they'd rather you like talk to them about it. Yeah. So I think,
And it's hard. I mean, it's like none of us know. I mean, when you're thrown into parenthood, you don't know how to do it. Like it's a hard conversation to have. It's like it's hard to do it with your partner. You know, when you start having sex, like having it with your child is like.
Even
so like I can't judge parents that don't do it. We should try and finish this.
I'm so full.
Maybe Dan will come home and eat all of this.
But also there's a lot of beer left.
Yeah, we can finish that if anything.
Yeah, I'm very excited. We'll cheers to that.
Yeah.
Third culture kids. Wow, I'm an alcoholic.
Yes. But yeah, another topic that I just remembered.
What did you remember?
Squirting. Like, I feel like all these other topics have come up within, like, my friend groups or, like, whatever. Squirting, never. And I didn't realize that I was a squirter until I met Dayon. First of all, it's okay if you do.
And second of all, it's okay if you don't.
That's true.
Okay?
Yeah. Everyone's body is different. Like, like, we still, like, that's the thing is, like, we still don't know so much about, like, women's bodies just because there's, like, when you study the human body, it's always male bodies. But, like, squirt, scientists say, is just pee it smells different, but it like but like the fluid builds up in your bladder, like that's where it's coming from. So technically it's pee, but it's not like the same, like how do I like what it actually is. It's like it's not yellow, it's not, like it's clear, but it's like building up in your bladder.
But like that's good to know that like you're a full-time squirter. But because I've squirted before, but this was like through Skype sex.
Oh,
yeah.
How? So just you?
So I made myself squirt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. Like, we didn't even talk about orgasms.
Yeah. So we'll cut out all the serious stuff.
Yeah. Like what? We didn't. Yeah. I totally forgot that we didn't even talk about that. Yeah. Okay. Wait. But first, before we move on to orgasms, I will say so. Squirting, I don't feel it a lot of times. Like, I mean, it feels great. It's probably like maybe like my height because I don't orgasm ever, not that much. But it's kind of like my height. We'll get to that. But it's kind of like my height of like our sex, and I don't super feel it coming. And I will say that if you are a squirter, I know we'll get to that. But I'll say that if you are a squirter, then you should invest in something you can find on Amazon. It is literally just like a pad that absorbs like water so that you're not messing up your mattress and your sheets. And because before we got this, like it was just a hot mess.
It's like when you're really old and you have incontinence.
Or when kids pee. Yeah, that's the thing. The comments, so funny. On Amazon, the comments are either it's for my child that's peeing or I'm a squirter.
All right.
Yeah, so like, there you go.
ORGASMS.
Orgasms. Is there an I?
No.
orgasm. Yeah, you're right. Orgasm.
Orgasm. Nina can't spell.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this just literally all of this is it's so interconnected. But for me, my own sexual experiences, a lot of it when I was first starting was so focused on my partner, what felt good for them, that I never had the space to figure out what felt good for me in sex. Like even when guys like try to, they're not really trying to, they just want to prove to you that like they're the best that you've ever had or whatever. But it's like it's always like centered around whoever it was that I was having sex with, and it was never about me. And it wasn't until day on that I actually like can orgasm, and it's only when I'm on top. And
yeah, same.
It has to be the same. Like yeah, like that's, I never do that though, because like for me, having sex before, like I just wasn't comfortable with being on top because that's my whole body and like on display kind of, and I was like, never comfortable enough in my own body to do that, and so I never would have known that.
Oh babe, I'm on top.
Yeah.
If I describe myself as large and in charge.
Yeah.
Jokes. Shout out to my. No shout out. Just. The worst.
You guys are bad.
So bad.
You're bringing out a really interesting side of Trish right now.
Which is a lie because Nina has known me for a long time.
It's true,
This
yeah.
is not new to her.
I know. We hung out yesterday and I was like, Trish is the kind of person you hang out with where it's like you need to clear the whole rest of your day because you never know where it might go.
You just don't know.
Because I guess because you are always on top. So did you ever have...
Always.
Okay, well,
That's a
okay,
lie.
but like, how did you ever go through like kind of like what I did where it was like, I can't, or like, I don't want to do
Yeah,
that?
of course. And like there's times too, you know, you're like, just can you not turn on the lights because it's awkward.
Yeah.
I just want to come, but I don't want you to see me. So, you know, but at the same time, like, if you don't feel sexy with the person you're doing it with, then maybe...
Sex is supposed to be sexy.
Sex should be sexy.
Yeah.
And you know, it will take a few times, it will take like a long time, but you know, I was telling Nina the story and my mom was rummaging through my suitcase. She found my butt plug and she's like, Trisha, what's this for? And I just looked at her and I got caught so off guard, like this is now, like me as an adult. And I was like, it's for pleasure. So she just like looked at me and was like, I don't want to know, like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't touch that.
Yeah,
Don't touch that. Wash your
It's for pleasure, but please go direct yourself to the bathroom.
Ew.
That's so funny.
Guys, be clean, you know.
Yeah.
Wash your hands every after.
But yeah, no, I was making my bed when I was staying in San Francisco, and then my vibrator lives in a little bag that it came with. So like it wasn't just like hanging out, but it was on my bed.
Okay, we get it. You have a bag.
I'm a bag, Trish. And so it was in my bag, and then I was doing my bed, and my mom was in my room. She was like, "What is that?" And I feel like, I don't know, but I feel like she was like, she knew what it was and she wanted to talk about it. I don't know, but then I was like, and I just kept doing my bed, and she was like, Nina, what is that? And I'm like, it was fucking making my bed. I never addressed it, like, cause yeah, like as I was saying, like it still is just so weird for me. Like I can't, like even though we're saying now, like yes, talk to people, like I don't know, like I think it was just, it's too weird for me.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a parent. Talk to Nina. Talk to me
Yeah,
about
talk to me. Yeah. Slide into the DMs.
Slide in the DMs.
Yeah.
Put a lot of lube, you know? Spit is the best lube. Jokes! Coconut oil is. I'm the worst. This goes in the credits.
Clearly you should, clearly you should slide into her DMs.
Don't slide.
Like that's the thing too, like, because I can talk about sex with so many of my friends, like I just assume, like clearly we live in a bubble, like we really do. Mm-hmm. So much of the world is so censored about it, like straight up censorship, and it really like blows my mind because like it really is just like it does no one any good to not talk about sex, and I feel like the argument is always like, but the children, and it's like, yes, with children, like, you know, we're not saying like everyone should be having sex whenever. You know, there's definitely like a limit,
Boundaries,
but like
yeah.
as adults and as like consenting adults, like sex should be talked about.
It should just be a bit more normalized. Did I tell you what happened?